You probably already know that there's a strong probability that the U.S. economy will enter a recession this year or in 2024 if you've listened to commentators, experts, or economists. Nobody knows how bad that recession will be. Investors are in unknown seas after the Federal Reserve recently carried out 4 straight 0.75 percentage point increases in interest rates. This is especially true given that the Fed is simultaneously unwinding its enormous balance sheet. What should investors do if these rises actually cause a recession in 2023? Sell everything, go cash only, and wait for the good times to come again? We might as well start selling right away, just in case. That, in our opinion, would be a grave error that would destroy riches. Instead, we'll be taking Warren Buffett's counsel, a renowned investor. Some advice from Buffett for a recession. Buffett once said, "Be greedy when others are fearful, and be fearful when others are greedy." This is his most well-known saying. It's a different way of expressing buy low, sell high, the stock market maxim that has stood the test of time. However, this quotation was made in the wake of the global financial crisis in Buffett's 2009 letter to Berkshire Hathaway Incorporated stockholders. It is some of the greatest guidance he has offered on the subject and deals specifically with investing during recessions. Big opportunities come infrequently. When it's raining gold, reach for a bucket, not a thimble. We've put a lot of money to work during the chaos of the last 2 years. It's been an ideal period for investors. The climate of fear is their best friend. Those who invest only when commentators are upbeat end up paying a heavy price for meaningless reassurance. In the end, what counts in investing is what you pay for a business, through the purchase of a small piece of it in the stock market, and what that business earns in the succeeding decade or two. So here we have Buffett describing a downturn as an ideal period for investors. That is the mindset we will have going into the next economic downturn. Stocks of Coca-Cola Company are one of Buffett's most significant investments. In a recession, do people quit drinking Coke? No. However, during the global financial crisis, the stock price of Coca-Cola dropped by more than a third. It did it once more during the 2020 COVID collapse. However, Coca-Cola stock is pretty close to its all-time high right now. In hindsight, stocking up on this firm during either of these times would have been a great deal. Therefore, if there's a recession this year, try to keep Buffett's advice in mind. It may be the finest thing that has ever happened to your share portfolio if you're greedy while others are afraid and dump the bucket when gold falls. Consider the long term and make wise investments. It may be challenging to predict anything in the stock market, even recessions. A recession may happen before anybody realizes it and only be announced once it's well underway or over. Recessions occur more frequently than you may imagine. Having one every 10 years is not unusual. As a result, if you plan to invest long-term, you should prepare for the possibility of experiencing a recession. Buffett has consistently counseled investors to have a long-term perspective because short-term volatility and profitability problems are relatively common. 5 or 10 years from now, if you invest in a firm with solid fundamentals, those fundamentals will probably increase and lead to record earnings. You can assist yourself by making wise investments, though. Buffett favors physical assets that produce a lot of cash, like farms and real estate, which he refers to as productive assets. Buffett has also urged individuals to avoid adding unnecessary complexity to situations. Most investors need to invest in an index fund linked to the S&P 500, which has a history of producing positive long-term returns. Consider opportunities when thinking. Buffett has consistently recommended investors to search for chances during a recession, despite some of his more cautious suggestions. The Oracle of Omaha is credited as saying, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful." His counsel also makes sense because market highs have always finally followed all recessions, which are just transient in nature. When the economy slumps, investors have a unique opportunity to purchase equities at bargain prices and profit in the long run. Buffett has a history of taking his own counsel. Consider Bank of America, which ranks as Berkshire Hathaway's second-largest holding in its portfolio of significant shares. In 2011, Buffett made his first investment in the bank, which is now the second-largest bank in the United States by assets. He received $5 billion in preferred shares and stock warrants, which enabled Berkshire to buy hundreds of millions of Bank of America common stock shares at a price of $7.14 per share. Let's move on to the present. After the price fell by about 30% this year, the shares of Bank of America are currently trading for more than $32. Follow Buffett's recommendation. It might be hard to maintain composure when a potential recession is on the horizon, but try to heed Buffett's counsel. Stay the course if you still feel good about a stock since you've done excellent research on it, but the market has severely discounted it this year. Most likely, it will recover. Don't be scared to take advantages of possibilities if you have some money to invest and believe they're worthwhile. Additionally, feel free to recognize when you are out of your depth and invest in index funds rather than individual equities. These will most likely benefit you in the long run. Last but not least, remember that recessions have always been brief and were usually followed by new market highs. Be optimistic and persistent. That concludes today's video. Thanks for joining us till the end, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.